Welcome to the newest episode of How to Crush No Limit Hold'em games in United States Casino. I'm Jun. Today we're going to MGM Grand Poker Room, and relatively there are not as many sharings online as other poker rooms such as Leisure or Areas. And here they're mainly playing 1-2 small blind, big blind games. And anyways, let's go fishing. We're balling for $500 to start today's session. And the first hand we're gonna share is I got aces on cutoff, the best hand in poker. Under the gun player limit, I choose to raise to $12. Small blind under the gun choose to call. Flop is 5, 6, 7 rainbow. They check to me. This flop is very dangerous to us. Our ace is losing to many 2 pairs, sets, or straight combos. So I choose to check back to control the pot. And turn comes a 8 of club. Now the board becomes a 1-card straight board, and the good news is they both check to me and I check back. The river comes another 8. Opponents check it again. Although the board is like that, but we still can get some value from hands like King 7 suited, Queen 6 suited, this kind of hand. So I bet $20. Interestingly, 2 opponents both choose to call. We showed aces and we successfully take down the first pot today. And the second hand I got King Queen suit on the cutoff, and middle position player open raise. I chose to raise it to $35. Interestingly, bottom player and small blind player called the 3-bet, and middle position player called as well. I also confirmed that. Oh, it's 4-way?
It's 4-way.
Wow.
Not good. He scared everyone in.
And small blind player is a maniac type of player, and flop comes King Queen for rainbow. And opponents are quite deep behind. So after check to me, I choose to bet $100 around half of the pot. Given that opponent's Coco range will still have some hands like X-King, King Queen, King Jack, or 10 Jack, this kind of cards we can get value from. But surprisingly, bottom and small blind player choose to call. In turn comes a blank 2. And SPR is smaller than 1, so we choose just push all in. I'm all in. Sadly, both of them choose to fold it, and small blind, the maniac type of player, showed 10 jack. And the worst news is, after 5 hands, the small blind maniac type of player pushed all in blindly with 2-5 suited and got cleaned by kings. And then he just disappeared from this table. The next hand I got Ace-King of hearts on the big blind. A passive player on the hijack limp, I choose to raise it to $15. He chooses to call. Flop comes 9-2-3 rainbow. On this dry board, we still have range advantage, so I choose to bet 1/3 of a pot. Opponent calls. Turn comes a 4. So if opponent has 5-6, he makes a straight. But given that the opponent is quite passive, so I decided to fire a second bullet, trying to push the biggest pressure on his mid pairs. At the same time, I also got Ace King 5 these great outs, and he calls. The river comes at 8, and we hit nothing, and we cannot represent many strong combos, so I choose to check. And the opponent bets $35, and here we won nothing except for some draws. But based on the history, the opponents here won't bluff their minstrels, so I choose to fold. So after these hands, I'm very curious about if my decisions was correct or not. So we're using GTO solvers to see the result. And I'm assuming I'm raising on the hijack versus big blinds defend. And we can see on the flop 9-3-2, we can use a high frequency small betting strategy. And if turn is a 4, we should check mostly. And if we want to bet, except over pairs, we should choose Ace-5, King-5, 5-5, or King-6, this kind of combos that is possible to make a straight and also block the straight combos at the same time. And moreover, we can see what kind of turn card we should bet. And interestingly, if we comparing a turn is ace, king, queen, three scenarios, we will find out that if the turn card is an ace, we should check the most. And the reason is, I think, because opponents would defend more ace high on the flop, facing a small bet. But if I get ace king like the top pair top kicker, I should bet anyway. And if the turn is a king, I should bet the most frequently, including all the broadways combos. And if it was a queen, I should mix my top pairs and also some draws into my betting combos. And checking range would be some middle pairs and small pairs and ace high. Next hand, I got king jacks of spades on +1. I raised it to 10 bucks. Low jack and small blind all called. And flop comes ace 10 7 2 spades. We got a gut shot and a flush draw. It's a very strong hand. We choose to bet 20 bucks. Two opponents both called. And turn comes a 6 of spade. Very comfortable. We hit the flush. But I forget why I choose to check. Perhaps I want to do a check raise here, but unfortunately low jack player also checks back. Now I think this move is quite idiot. Anyways, river comes a 6 of heart. And small blind player bets 40 bucks and it's my turn. And obviously I'm choosing between raising or calling. And because the small blind player is quite tight and passive, so when he bets, it's typically a very strong hand. So I choose to just call. And the opponent shows 8-9 of spades. And I show king jack of spade and win the pot. Wait. The opponents actually hit a straight flush.
High hands!
Nice. You get the bonus.
Are gonna get 10 high straight flush is gonna pay $350. It looks like an extra $350.
Hey.
Congrats.
High hands!
Drinks all around.
And this hand I got pocket tens on the cutoff. I raised it to 12 bucks and small blind and low jack calls. Low jack player is a 100 player. He kept botting for $100 and lose it all and then kept buying $100 again and again. And this type of player is my favorite. And plus he's a calling station type of player. He's kind of tilt. Anyways, the flop comes ace 9. A flop favors the preferred raiser and I choose to bet 15 bucks. He calls. And turn comes an 8. Here I can choose to get one street value from his 9 or middle pair. I choose to check back and my plan is if river comes a card below 9, I can bet another street. And river comes a 6. After he checked to me, I bet 40 bucks as planned, but sadly he snap fold this time. And this hand I got 9-7 offsuit on the big blind, and after 5 player lamed, I check back. The flop comes jack 8-5 2 hearts. All check to middle position player, he bets 10 bucks. Cut off the 100 player calls. And here we got double gut shot, so I choose to call. And the turn comes a drink card 6 of clubs. Check to middle position player again, he bets 20 bucks after cut off calls. Here we didn't block any 2 pairs range such as jack 8, 5-6, a6 or any sets. So I definitely want to raise for value. And after I checked the opponent's stacks, I decided to raise it to 80 bucks. And in this way, the SPR in the river is about 1. And interesting, after middle position folded, the cutoff calls. And the river comes a complete blank 2 of clubs. And I push all in, but sadly he chooses to fold again. In this hand, hijack way the 100-100 player limped. I got pocket 7s on the bottom, so I raised it to 15 bucks. Small blind and hijack player both called. Flop comes King Deuce 3 2 clubs. A rather dry board. I choose to bet for 1/3 to protect my pocket 7, and small blind called. Turn comes a ace of spade. And given that the opponent didn't 3-bet pre-flop, here he didn't have actually many strong aces, so I chose a larger size, a full pot size bet, 70 bucks, to give maximum pressure on his kings or draws, and opponent choose to call. The river comes a ace of hearts, and surprisingly the opponent dunked 150 bucks. And it's kind of rare situation, and I'm actually thinking about turning my hands into a bluff, because in my range I almost got the strongest hands in my range. But given that the opponent only had 100 bucks left, so there's no folding equity here, so I decided to fold it. However, after these hands, the player just acts like a maniac. He pushed all in with King 7 suited under the gun, and then got called by queens, and he just got cleaned. And obviously the good things just cannot last for long. In the next hand, I got ace king of clubs under the gun and raised it to 10 bucks, and cut off player and big blind calls. The flop comes 10-8 to rainbow. All of us choose to check. Turn comes an ace. We got top pair, top kicker. We absolutely need to bet for value. And given that all opponents all check the flop, mostly if they gonna choose to continue, they will have ace in their hands. And then if they got ace in their hands, they always choose to calls, no matter the bet size. So I choose a larger size, 20 bucks, and both of them choose to calls. The river comes at 9, and so queen jack, jack 7, and 6-7 makes a straight. But we still can get value from a weaker ace, and given that there is a straight on the board, so I choose a half pot size, 50 bucks, wishing them to call more with their ace. And luckily big blind calls with ace jack, and we successfully get 2 street value and then win the pot. And the next hand is I got pocket 3s on the big blind, and after a lot of limpers limped, I choose to raise it to 25 bucks, 12 big blinds, and middle position and low jack still choose to calls. And it means that on this kind of low stakes cash game, we can actually choose a very big open size to exploit them. And the flop comes queen 4 deuce rainbow. It's a very good flop. We got a backdoor straight, and then the board is dry, so I raise it to 30 bucks, and low jack player choose to call. And the turn counts our dream card a 3, so we make this set. And considering the opponent's stacks behind, we don't need to worry about 5-6 of straight. We just think how to push all the money in the pot. So I choose to bet 75 bucks and preparing for a 2/3 all in on the river, and opponent choose to calls immediately, and the river comes 8 of diamonds. I pretended to think for a while and push all in. And sadly the opponent folds, but we still take down the pot. The last hand I'm gonna share today is I got pocket 4s on the low jack and the open raise to 12 bucks, and hijack player calls, the bottom player squeeze it to 35 bucks. And this is the first time I got 3-bet actually today. And the big blind calls the 3-bet. And we got great odds, so definitely choose it to call. And hijack player calls. So we're entering a 4-way 3-bet pot. And the flop comes Jack 5-4, 2 diamonds. So I hit it set in a 4-way 3-bet pot. Everyone checks it to button. He bets $100. So here, based on his range today, is basically aces and kings. And after big blind folds, I choose to call. And I'm hoping hijack player also calls, but he folded. And the turn comes a 3. Check to him, he snap all in, and we snap call. And river comes an 8. The opponent looks very upset. Yeah, it's brutal for him, but we win the pot again. Overall today in MGM Grand is similar as last week at Boulder Station Casino. People here are playing relatively passive, and there are not many like loose aggressive people here. So everyone here just want them call and want to see the flop and then check fold if they did not hit. So it's relatively a great game to play here. And today we got really lucky. We hit a lot of sets and then straight and our bluff and went successfully. So today we bought in for $800 and cash out for $20.72, and it's almost 6 buyings and a great win today. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and if you like today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe and sharing. I'll see you guys next week.
Then it's your chance to be ruthless.